life is short, and our human existence is very special. As humans, we have a certain kind of intelligence that makes us different from other living beings like plants or animals. And so it is imperative that we use it wisely, that we live our life in the most meaningful way. This was the teaching, the message that we got from a very well-respected Tibetan Buddhist master. It was on day 3 of my 9-day meditation retreat that we got a very special treat, a special lesson from a visiting master, a Buddhist Rinpoche from Tibet, who gave us an hour of teaching. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. Hi, my name is Yulin Lee. As a money empowerment coach and a spiritual mentor, I have spent decades helping hundreds of women in midlife who are financially stable but not yet empowered to really find what is it next in the chapter of their life. Because if you're in your 50s or around 50s, let me tell you, this is our golden age. This is the time where we say, you know what? I've done everything I could for everyone else. Now it's me time. I really want to take this time to figure out, what do I want from life? Or what does life have to offer me as a individual, as the center of my life, instead of maybe in the past decades playing the sidekicks, right? Because we were serving everyone else. So this is day 3 of my 9-part series where I am sharing what I have learned from the 9-day meditation retreat. And if you haven't seen the previous ones, day 1 and 2, be sure to go to my channel and watch those. And they're all very short videos, but really me sharing everything, all the wisdoms that I have been learning at this retreat. And also, if you're someone who's thinking about, should I go to a meditation retreat? Is this something right for me? Then I hope this series can help you answer those questions. So day 3, as I mentioned, we had a special guest teacher. And so I want to share what he shared with us first. And so he introduced this concept called Samsara, and that's in Buddhism. And it means that it's the unending cycle of birth and death and all the sufferings that we have. And all the sufferings that we have really comes from the idea of this concept of me, right? The identity of me, the identity of I, and because of that, that's where all the grasping, the attachments, that's where it all come from. And he talked about during meditation to have the right view, because again, you're not doing meditation for the sake of doing meditation. Of course, meditation can help you relax, but there's actually so much more beyond just relaxing your body and your mental state. And so what are those more things behind the relaxation? Well, he talks about having the right view and really asking ourselves the question and doing some investigation through meditation. And that is about, who are we? And what are our stories? And what is the road ahead? And when you understand the cycle of birth and death, and also understanding, what binds us in the suffering, in the samsara, then you can figure out what the lessons are, right? So we're not going through life enduring suffering for the sake of enduring suffering. Everything we experience, there's a purpose. So the key is asking yourself, what are the lessons behind whatever we're experiencing in life? And all of those questions can be revealed, or answers can be revealed to you through your meditation practice. So as in the last couple of videos, we talked about, the one thing or the main thing about meditation is about taming our mind. And so he further explained that in terms of be the master of our mind, there are 3 key components. And one is intention, and the second one is action, and the third one is experience. And so it's this whole cycle, and that's what creates karma. And so it's so interesting. And he says, wholesome actions lead to wholesome experiences. And he also made an analogy of our mind to a cup. And that if we don't tame, or if we don't manage our mind gets filled with kind of just the garbage that we collected through our surroundings, our environment, social media, friends and family, whatever, right? But if we can be intentional and really be vigilant and to have that clear awareness of what is coming through our mind, then we can do a better job of clearing our mind to create that space. Because if your mind is like a cup, and if it's filled with negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative experiences, or emotions, then once it's full, you can't add to it. And this is also what I talked about in my previous video about how do you simplify your life. And it's also about decluttering our mind so that we can create that space for new inspirations to come in. And he also said the intentions that we set are the seeds of our future. So think about this. I also feel that, what they're teaching here through Buddhism is very much the same thing as what I have learned from Napoleon Hill. As you may have heard me talk about in my other videos, I am a certified coach with Napoleon Hill Institute. And he talks about the difference between people living with clear intentions and achieving whatever they want to achieve versus people who go through life drifting. And drifting just means that there's no clear intention from you yourself and that you are constantly reacting to the circumstances that comes to you in life. So essentially, if you're drifting, that means you're just allowing life to push you to wherever you may end up versus living a life with clear intention. And that is the path to achieving whatever you want to achieve. And so this is a beautiful part where I feel like, no matter what you learn or who you learn from, at the end of the day, they are all teaching you the same thing. And that is, we are the master of our own life. We're the master of our own mind. And therefore we can create the life that we want to live. And another thing he talked about in terms of how to create the best meditation practice is that to make sure that you gather the right condition to have a successful session. And so this is another thing that they share with us in Buddhism, and I thought it's beautiful. I'm going to share that with you. You can follow the structure, and you don't have to follow word by word if you're not a Buddhist. And so, but I love what they're teaching in terms of how do you create the right condition, the right environment for you. And so they talked about the 3 noble principles. So what that means is for every meditation that there are 3 components to it. The first is at the beginning of your meditation. And they said, think of that as the heart. And that's all about, as you start a meditation each time, set a clear intention. What do you want this meditation to be? And, in Buddhism, they have specific words that you can read from, but you can also create your own, right? What intention do you want to set? Is it to bring more calm, peace, happiness to yourself? Or maybe it's also bring more calm, peace, happiness, not only to yourself, but to others as well, right? So whatever the intention you want to set, do that as a way to set the structure. And then in the middle, it talks about the good in the middle. And that's about the view. Again, who is perceiving, who is doing this meditation. It's about the frame of mind that you are bringing into the meditation practice. Here's some specific example. If we bring to the meditation practice with bad emotions or bad perceptions or negative perceptions of something that happened in your life, then that's a space you end up being. But if you understand that everything is impermanent, everything is interdependent, which also means whatever happened in your life, whatever perception you end up having about what happened, it's not going to be permanent. That will pass. Same thing with suffering, same thing with happiness. So if there's something that's negative that happened, and there's no need to hold on, there's no need to grasp onto that negative emotion because life is impermanent. And same thing with happiness. Like if you go through a period where you have so much joy, so much good things, that's great. Again, still no grasping, no attachment, knowing that that is also impermanent. And so when you have that kind of frame of mind, it also helps you to stay more grounded as you go through the meditation process. Because again, it helps to kind of manage our monkey mind when the thought comes up. And then the third principle is the good at the end. And what that means is that at the end of the meditation practice, you also want to make some kind of dedication of your merits to maybe others. Again, in Buddhism, they have specific phrases and words that you can recite. But if you're not, that's okay. You can create your own statements. But the idea is to wrap up with a good intention of dedicating the merits to others. So it's not just about yourself. So all in all, day 3 of our meditation retreat was very, very rich. And I was just so happy simply because it was also my birthday. And we had this special guest who, a teacher, very, very well recognized teacher to come and gave us a lesson. So that was the best birthday gift for myself. But yeah, I want to share all of that. There's so much more and there's so much deeper in all of the teachings that this was my second time coming back to this retreat, and I know I will keep coming back because there's so much depth, right? And each time even if you hear the same thing, because you have changed, you're in a different space. Each time you hear it, you will absorb it differently and you will pick up different things. And so if there's anything that is not clear in this particular video, please comment below. I would love to clarify for you. But more importantly, I would love to have an open dialogue because I think, again, learning is it's a lifelong thing, and it's so much easier and more fun when we're doing it together. Again, if you haven't watched any of the previous videos in the series, you can click on one of these link here to watch them to get the full background and story, and then also make sure you keep coming back for the entire series of the 9 videos that I am sharing with you. Take care.